Greetings after school folks, Sandy Day here again, talking a little bit about the content that we've created for our after school partners. Remember that all of this content is free to you to use. We encourage you to do so. The only thing that we ask is that at the completion of the lesson or the unit, you're able to respond to a short, very, very short, 4-question input form. It's a Google form. The first 4 questions are just Likert scale, 1 to 5. Things like, was this lesson fun for your students? Could your staff understand the instructions? And then there's one question for open-ended comments, and that's where could really help us with any improvements you think from the field need to be made to that content. So that being said, just wanted to tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about today, and it is a site with all the content. It's a URL. All the content is right on that website, and it is called Activate. It is an ACT Prep Club set of content. Now, let me tell you how this was. I'll tell you how it was designed, but then obviously you're going to be able to use it any way you see fit. This was designed to be a summer activity for a group of UNL college students to be facilitators, and they facilitated this last summer, 2020, a session with 12 students from different high schools in Lincoln. And there's a set of activities for each of the 4 parts of the test. You probably remember English, math, writing, and science. And so again, like the way this was set up, these are like competitions. So they're games basically. We gamified how to get ready for the ACT test. And it's a competition based between teams. So those 12 kids were broken down into, I believe it was 3 teams of 4 or 4 teams of 3, whatever. At any rate, they were working to gain the most points, and there's a built-in tabulation piece in this website that keeps track of all the points for the kids. And then at the end of the week, there were giveaways. There were giveaways from UNL's recruiting office. There were giveaways from BSB, gave some things away, and so that's how it was designed. And again, the time frames were it's a 5-day club. It was a 5-day club, 2.5 hours per day. Now that might be difficult during the school year, so you could take that and break it down into 45-minute pieces, or you could do 4, actually 5, because there's the 5th lesson is how to get a perfect score on the ACT, how to get a perfect 36. And so our thinking was, yeah, we're going to create this part because, oh, geez, darn it, they only got a 32. So if you go into it thinking, I'm going to get a perfect score, and these are the 10 tips to get you there, we're thinking that whatever they get is going to be great. At any rate, that's how the club was designed, but you can take all of this content and you can use it however you want to. We had so many glowing reviews from that very first pilot at the end of July. I mean, open-ended comments like, this one just gets me. It was so fun getting to know real live college students. We made relationships and we're going to stay in touch via email. Now that, you guys, that is just too good for words. So this particular club did more than it was set out to do, and that's to help kids get ready for the ACT. It actually helped make connections in the real world for kids coming into the college atmosphere. So, and that being said there, let me take you to the website. And again, this is posted on the Beyond School Bells repository for all the curriculum. So let me get to sharing my screen here. And it is somewhere in here. Let me see where I put it. There we go. Here's the website, Activate, an ACT Preparation Club. And here is the kind of the overview of what I gave you just now. There's our logo, a piece of art created by our wonderful Max Cuppins, who's a visually gifted, amazing human who can do anything with graphics or websites or whatever. So here are the main links. So you're sitting at the home page. Here are the resources for all of the facilitators, be they in your world, be they the site director and or facilitator and or any, you could even use high school students who have already taken the ACT to help prep maybe 8th graders. Because as you know, this is you got to work at this particular test in order to score really well. Colleges and universities still use this test, so we do need to still prepare our students. But you could certainly use some college or high school seniors who have already taken this test to be your facilitators if that's where you are with your staff. The other thing is, if you can connect to your local community college, particularly future teachers, I think they would really get something out of helping to facilitate this content. So here's the overview, and it goes into detail about each of the segments that you'll see. Sorry, it's all wonky. So there's an English section, math, reading, science, as I indicated. There's a little bit about some other resources that will help you out. A lot of the games that are across all the subject areas are based, well, they are all based off of previous ACT tests. And so that's why this website, Crack the ACT or crackact.com, is really very, very helpful, because what's up there are former tests. So you're gonna appreciate all that. And then we found some really cool resources, not only on Crash Course on PBS, but also on the YouTube has a whole channel for ACT test prep. And a couple of those videos were really awesome. Like this last one, the 3 science tips, was really remarkable. I think kids will get a lot out of that. Okay, so that's the overview. And here it is in PDF, which is a little bit easier to read. I guess I should have gone there. One of the things, just so you can see the format a whole lot better when you look at it through the PDF. But at any rate, moving on. One of the things that we wanted to start out the very first of this club with is a social emotional learning activity where the participants are going to create a glitter jar. And we want them to do that first, and we want to talk about why that's important, because this content is going to be challenging. The ACT Activate content in and of itself is challenging, and you might get frustrated. In fact, you will get frustrated. Everybody's going to get frustrated. And the cool thing about this is we can have the students create a glitter jar to help them deal with breathing, calming down, thinking about the pieces that are swirling around in their head, just like that glitter is. And as you watch the different densities of the glitter settle to the bottom, it does help with breathing, it helps with circulation, and it helps to free the mind. So we wanted to have them make this first, and not that I'm brilliant, but this was a really good idea, because watching the students do this together, they didn't really know each other. This was where you really got to see them work as a team. It was a thing of beauty. So cool thing about that is, the other cool thing about that is, in my opinion, they have it for the unit, but then they have it for the rest of eternity. And hopefully they will always think about social emotional learning and self-control and appropriate reactions to the world as it stresses them out. So at any rate, it is what it is there for you. Here's that built-in scoreboard that I was mentioning. And the facilitators will get in here and play around, and it's really very self-explanatory. Here were the prizes for that particular activity that went on. We can get you the files to these t-shirts if you want to have them printed, but really any kind of prizes that you have would be great. And then here are the activities by day, and I guess it does open up into the overview again. So here's the day 1 English, and there are 3 lesson plans here. And again, I'm going to open this, and I'm sure it's going to be a little wonky and hard to see because of it. Oh, that's not so bad. Nicely done. So learning to communicate with writing English, and doing it in such a way that makes sense in websites, ads, and social media is just a different way to make sure that you've got sentences constructed correctly, that you're getting the point across to the audience. And that's a couple pieces related to that particular test. There's a memorization component, and then Grammar Feud, which is the competition part related to the English part of the test. It is a lot of fun. You're going to love it. Reading. There are, again, 3 lessons. There are some additional resources here in this reading resources component. The reading lessons are storyboards, and why it's important to have a storyboard when you go to, when you're reading, you're basically creating a little story in your head, and there's a correlation between that and creating a storyboard before you write a story. So we're making a connection there. Quick reading game, a lot of fun, and then the competition is a comprehension piece. The math lessons. Again, we have 3. Here is lesson A, make a lesson plan. And then this one actually turns out to be 4 lessons, because on day 1, they're making a lesson plan on a particular goal. And then second day is they are teaching it to each other. Then we have Math Jeopardy, which is a lot of fun. One of the competitions here, the second one is a relay game based on math and the kinds of math that they'll be using on this particular test, which is not often the kinds of math that they're using in their everyday life today as a sophomore in high school, let's say. The other thing that's cool, one of the tips on the 36 tips for Perfect 36 is, and this was kind of blew me away just to even think about it, the math component of the ACT, forget being perfect, forget having to show all your work. Those are 2 of the things that typically takes place in math in the classroom. This is all about speed, and sometimes you just may have to guess, and they give you tips in that particular sub part of that perfect lesson or perfect score on how to be a better guesser. I mean, it's really a good tip. You're going to like that one. And then the last part of the test is the science test. And again, we've got 3 lessons. We have a graphing game, we have some tips, and then the robbery game, which is another competition. Yeah, you'll get it. You'll get it when you go there. At any rate, so those are the different components of this particular club. And there's some other resources, and I'll just kind of scroll through here. There are some, I just kind of threw together a few flashcards. This is one of the games in a PowerPoint, so you might want to, it's kind of cool to go through the game in a PowerPoint before you actually give it. It just helps give some perspective. Okay, so that is the Activate Club. And it is, again, ACT Preparation Club. It was designed to be competition-based. It was designed to be fun. At our first go-around, like I indicated at the end of July with the UNL students, we did get some really great feedback, and it was fun. Students really enjoyed doing it. The facilitators really enjoyed being part of it. And so our hope is that if you give it a shot, that you find it to be helpful and useful as well. If you have any questions on this lesson or anything that I talked about today or anything from a previous unit, please don't hesitate. If you have my email, at the bottom of my email, if you don't have my email, I'll tell you, it's just sday@nebraskachildren.org. At the bottom of my email, if you already have one of my emails, you're going to find my cell phone number. Please use that anytime. Also have my Zoom name. Please use that anytime. Reach out. We can have a quick conversation if you're stuck or you need an idea how to get past something that's a challenge. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here in this thing together, and remember, stay positive, test negative. Okay, bye. See you later.